For 250 years, majestic ships known as the Manila Galleons sailed between the Philippines and Mexico, weaving together the cultures of Asia, America, and Europe into a rich tapestry of global trade. Often referred to as the China ships, these galleons served as floating bazaars, carrying an astonishing array of goods, from exotic spices like nutmeg and cloves to fine Chinese silk and intricate Japanese samurai swords, testaments to the adventurous spirit that dared to defy the high seas and the unknown. For over 3 decades, Bryan Homan, an Australian residing in the Philippines, has led efforts in discovering and retrieving lost Spanish galleons, unraveling the stories, struggles, and forgotten legacies of these extraordinary vessels.
In 1977, I was in Australia in New South Wales, and I was doing high-rise in industrial buildings. I lost a good friend of a job, and he was dead. He fell off the buildings. So the court case took a few months, and a friend of mine says, "Well, why don't you get a passport and come with me?" And I said, "Well, where are you going?" He said, "The Philippines." He brought me to the Philippines, and somebody took me to Fort Galera in 1977, and there was nothing there. And I got a room off the school teacher's house. I went back to Australia, told the guy I was working for you about 6 months. He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I'm going to live in the Philippines and look for shipwrecks." I'd never done a dive before. I bought me compressor and came up and did the first scuba diving shop in the Philippines in 1978. But I went to the government in 83 and I took a plate, and they'd never done a shipwreck and nobody could swim. They had to send 2 archaeologists back with me to Port Galera. They had to stay in the boat, and I did the whole shipwreck by myself. And we got all the antiques up, and they all went to Manila for registration, and then I got my 50% back. I heard from the National Museum that there was a Spanish wreck that was left Manila, and 3 days later it ran aground onto Verde Island. Verde Island was quite close to where we came from. And we went over, couldn't find anything, and we walked along the beach talking to the fishermen, and all the broken porcelain was on the beach. And I said, "Well, this can't be too deep, because otherwise the porcelain would not be washed on the beach." And when we found it, it was in 3 meters of water, and the keel was still there, and a big block of cannonballs, we've still got that. I've got a list on 200 undiscovered ancient wrecks in this country, and most of them are Spanish, some are Chinese. There's a lot of shipwrecks in this country. If there's a bit of metal around any silver coins, you'll get what they call silver oxide, which is an encrustment on the coins. And with coins I found that had encrustment on them, there was a few spiked steel nails or steel spikes from 1620 which were in the wood. But most of all the other coins we found were clean, and all we had to do was get some toothpaste and clean them up. I found a perfectly round circle sticking out of the seabed, and when I went like this to sweep away the sand, I seen a dragon. There's a dragon on all the jars, and all of the jars on that wreck were dragon jars. And when I represented the Philippines at the World Expo in Australia in 1987, I talked to an Australian historian. He said, "These dragon jars are as rare as stealth." And I said, "Well, they were all dragon jars." And he said to me, "What year were you born?" I said, "Why? What's that got to do with it?" He said, "What year were you born?" I said, 1952. And he said, "Well, how? Yes, 1952 is the year of the water dragon," which is funny, but it's true. All the antiques stored in boxes in my house. And I sent the director of the SBMA at the time, and says, "If I could find a place to do the Maritime Museum, could I release it?" And he said, "Yes." And that's when I found this old wall here, antique looking wall, and I got this area to build a museum. And since then, it's 2000, we've been open to the public.
As we draw our voyage to a close, we are reminded that the Manila Galleons were more than just wooden structures navigating the high seas. They were the embodiments of human curiosity, ambition, and the spirit of exploration that connected worlds. For over 30 years, Bryan Homan has carried that torch, diving into the depths of history to retrieve the lost treasures and untold stories of these incredible ships. From exotic spices to delicate porcelain, from forgotten legacies to rediscovered history, the saga of the Manila Galleons continues to captivate us, reminding us that some treasures are beyond material. They are the enduring tales of human endeavor.